everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. I hope everybody in the United States had a good Thanksgiving. I sure did. Got a lot of rest, ate some really good food. This was the first year that we had a fresh turkey, meaning that we butchered it or processed it ourselves, and it does taste better than when you buy it from the store. So hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Yeah, so you remember this comet? We recently talked about it. Well, I guess it changed again. There's more news with this comet. We've already covered this a number of times on the channel. The first time that I covered it, it had the nickname of the Millennium Falcon comet because it looks like the Millennium Falcon spaceship from Star Wars a little bit. Later, in other articles, they started calling it the Devil Comet because it has horns. Not too fond of that name, but anyway, it's gone by those two nicknames. And this is what it has looked like up until now. Now it looks like this. There's been a dramatic change. Both the shape and the color has changed since the last time that we talked about this, which was not very long ago. I think it was just last week. So why do we care about comets? In case you're new, maybe you're brand new to the channel or you haven't seen my other videos, I always need to do this, why this would even matter, why we would pay attention to this. So we're going to go to the Joseph Smith papers, and we're going to read something out here about the sign of the Son of Man, which is when Christ comes in all of his glory. Okay, so this is Joseph Smith talking. Read Matthew 24, or 24th chapter, and all the prophets. He says, then shall they see the sign of the coming of the Son of Man in the clouds of heaven. How are we to see it? Answer, as the lighting up of the morning, or the dawning of the morning, cometh from the east and shineth unto the west. So also is the coming of the Son of Man. The dawning of the morning makes its appearance in the east and moves along gradually. So also will the coming of the Son of Man be. It will be small at its first appearance and gradually become larger until every eye shall see it. Shall the saints understand it? Oh yes, Paul says so. Shall the wicked understand? Oh no, they attribute it to a natural cause. They will probably suppose it is two great comets coming in contact with each other. It will be small at first and will grow larger and larger until it will be all in a blaze, so that every eye shall see it. And then there's another account of this same discourse. This is in Teachings of the Prophet Joseph Smith, page 287. Then will appear one grand sign of the Son of Man in heaven. But what will the world do? They will say it is a planet, a comet, etc. But the Son of Man will come as the sign of the coming of the Son of Man, which will be as the light of the morning cometh out of the east. Okay, so both accounts recorded the fact that he said that the people of the world, the wicked, the worldly, will probably think it's some kind of natural phenomenon. In this one right here, it says they may think it's a planet or a comet. Okay, so that's why I think we would do well to just kind of pay attention to what's in the sky. If there's noteworthy things happening, if we have a comet that seems notable, that's heading our way. Especially if it's doing weird things. And, this is kind of weird. It's making news. It's kind of an unusual comet based on everything that I've read about it. Now, we already covered it recently in this article. It says here that this was published 6 days ago. And so I think I made the video the first day that this article came out. And at this time, the news that was coming out was that it was the 4th time that it has erupted this year. So back in July, it had its first eruption in, I think it was 69 years. Okay. Its orbit is 71 years. And the last time that it erupted was, here it is, 69 years ago. So now it's coming back around, and it had its first eruption in July. And the last time that I did a video about this, it was its 4th eruption. Okay, so let's read the details of what's going on right now. This is from Live Science. City size devil comet, headed for Earth, loses its iconic horns and turns green after latest volcanic eruption. I don't know that this is significant. I know, what science says about comets and planets and space, and we think that we have everything figured out, and we have our instruments, and we can clearly see what it is, so why even think about this? Well, we may not be able to detect everything. We know, for example, that translated beings, they can be seen or unseen. And when you read about the three Nephites in the Book of Mormon, chapter 28 of 3rd Nephi, it talks about the fact that essentially it seems like their default is that they're unseen and that they have to pray to the Father to reveal themselves to people. And I'm sure the same would probably be true of resurrected beings. So to our telescopes, it's like, well, I mean, we know what this is. We know that there's gases coming off of this. We know exactly what this is. We can explain it. Well, we may not see the full picture. We may not. There may be more to comets, asteroids, shooting stars, planets, stars than what we understand or what we know. So that's why I think it's worthwhile just to consider that maybe this could be something, because we don't know everything. If we did, science would be complete, but we're still discovering things. The fact that it's a city-sized comet, I don't know. We know that he's going to come with the hosts of heaven. We ourselves are going to be caught up to meet him and be part of this. That's if you're righteous. He's going to come with the resurrected saints. The city of Enoch will be with him, the people of the city of Enoch. So I don't know, maybe city size, maybe that kind of fits the bill. All right, so let's read what it says in this article. The massive volcanic quote unquote devil comet that is racing toward the sun may have lost the distinctive horns that earned it its sinister nickname. Well, one of its nicknames, the other one was Millennium Falcon. I like that one better. Last week, after the comet's latest and most violent outburst yet, its trademark head spikes did not appear as they did after previous eruptions. But astronomers have spotted several new characteristics of the comet, including a rare green hue and a mysterious shadow. So it must be that at the time that I did this video, about 6 days ago, they had not yet observed these changes. They knew that it had erupted for the 4th time. It was the largest eruption. But we went through this article. It says nothing about changes. So this must be like further observations after this initial day. Okay, so, excuse me. So it just recently had its most violent outburst yet. Actually, let me highlight that. Okay, and now it has several new characteristics. A rare green hue and a mysterious shadow. Let's look at the picture again. So here's the shadow. And this picture is green. So I guess this is how it actually looks through a telescope, I suppose. All right, let's continue on. So far, 12P has had 3 major eruptions. On July 20th, when it was spotted exploding for the first time in 69 years. On October 5th, when it erupted even more vigorously. And on Halloween, October 31st, which was a less intense outburst. Each time the comet blew its top, its comet expanded into an irregular shape with a dark lane, quote unquote, that made it appear to have grown a pair of horns. Okay, so it had this kind of like thing right here. Okay. On November 14th, 12P experienced another major eruption, the most extreme outburst so far. Astronomers watched as the comet temporarily became more than 100 times brighter than normal. In the following days, as its comet expanded, spaceweather.com reported. But this time, its distinctive horns were nowhere to be seen. Quote, the comma seems perfectly circular this time. Nick James, director of the British Astronomical Association's Comet section, told spaceweather.com. So yeah, you can see that with the exception of kind of like where this shadow is, and there's kind of like a bump right there. Yeah, it is now pretty much, perfectly circular, or pretty close. The comet's horns are the result of an irregularity in the shape of 12P's nucleus, BAA astronomer Richard Miles previously told Live Science. The outflowing gas is likely being partially obstructed by a notch sticking out of the nucleus, he said. It is currently unclear why the horns have disappeared, but the frequent eruptions may have destroyed the notch that was blocking the outflow of chiromagma. During the third eruption on Halloween, the horns were much less distinct than they were in the first two eruptions, which suggests that notch may have already been damaged after the comet's first two outbursts. Oh, here's another picture. So this one you don't see that shadow, but at this point it's like perfectly round. Herman's images also revealed another surprise, a green hue in the comet's comma. This rare coloration is given off by comets with high levels of dicarbon, a chemical that emits green light when broken down by sunlight, according to Science magazine. Several green comets have flown by Earth this year, including the green comet C2022 E3 ZTF, which I've done videos about that one, which made its closest approach to Earth for 50,000 years in February, and Comet Nishimura, which flew by our planet for the first time in 430 years in September. I find these ones interesting whenever you have this calculation that we haven't seen this comet in 50,000 years, because we can't possibly know that. We're just trusting our calculations, and for all we know, if there's a comet like that comes along, it may be coming to Earth for the first time because it's not a comet. It's the sign of the Son of Man, and therefore, they're using their calculations like, oh, it must have a 50,000 year orbit, but that may not be the case. But we did videos about those ones, and these ones, according to this, were also green. Okay, and it's saying that the green color, if I'm understanding this right, that the green color is rare. And so that means that this year we've had 3 green colored comets. I don't know. I'm just going to make note of that. Let's continue. In follow-up images of the comet, Herman also noticed another strange dark patch in the comet's colorful comma, which looks like a curved gap. So again, I think it's referring to this right here, and it does have a curved shape. Okay. But unlike the misshaped dark lane that previously gave the comet its horns, experts believe that this unusual shape is a shadow cast by the outflowing chiromagma, according to spaceweather.com. And that's all that I have for that. So you may or may not know, I have a spreadsheet where I'm tracking comets, meteors, and asteroids. There's been a lot of very interesting things happening over the last few years. This goes back to 2014. We've had these interstellar objects that have come into our solar system. So the first one was January 8th of 2014. It was a meteor that crashed to Earth, and it's the first observed interstellar object, according to science. Okay, that was in 2014. And we've had some other ones, including asteroids. There was what they called a rogue comet, which was a comet that came from outside of the solar system. So there's been a lot of interesting things going on with comets, asteroids, and meteors. I've been keeping track of it all. I've added a new column F, for color. And surprisingly, it's not that easy to find the color of some of these different objects or the other comets. It'll probably take more digging to find out, but the thing that's kind of weird is that so far the comets that I have on here that I know what their color is, all of them have been green, except for this one in 2021, Comet Bertinelli-Bernstein, which was red, had a reddish hue. But back in 2020, there was Comet Neowise, which I looked it up and it's green. Here's Comet E3 that the article mentioned. It was green. That came in, it made its closest approach to Earth in February of this year, 2023. Here's Comet Nishimura. It was green. And now, Comet Pons Brooks, the one that we're talking about, that just changed shape and color, it is now green. I don't know what color it was before because none of these articles or no articles that I found so far say what color it was before. So I have no idea. I did come across this article. This is dated October 29th. So this article is before the article that we just read, and it's before the fourth eruption that caused these changes. Okay. So in this article, it's talking about the third eruption. No, it's not even talking about the third eruption because the third eruption was on Halloween. So this was actually 2 days before the third eruption. And according to this, it's saying color showing green, comma. So I don't know. I don't really understand. Okay. It says in red channel, the better resolved nucleus, right inset for color showing green, comma. It seems to suggest that they already knew that it already had a green color. So I don't know if it's like this type of green, like this hue of green that's rare. So it's kind of unclear to me. But the way that all the different stories read, it seems like it's just like completely changed color. That's the way that they make it seem. Now, let's talk about a couple interesting things here that I brought up before on the channel. So this eruption happened on, you see right here, it happened on, as I lose it, it happened on November 14th. Okay. And another thing that happened around that time was you had President Ballard, who passed away 2 days before on November 12th. Okay, November 12th, he passed away. 2 days later, there's this largest eruption that this comet has experienced, and it changes in a pretty dramatic way. Okay, and then a day after that, a day after the eruption or the outburst, President Holland is set apart as acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. Now, you might be rolling your eyes, especially if you're new to the channel, you know, but there's actually reason to believe that the two could be connected. So let me give you just a few examples. Oh, and let me first state, I think that it's significant that President Holland is now the acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. I've always felt that he's special. He has a lot of ties to the Middle East and Israel. That's why, it's my understanding, that's why President Nelson took him his first year as president of the church when he did this world tour. He took President Holland with him, and here they are in Jerusalem. You can see the Dome of the Rock over there. Of course, they're at the BYU Jerusalem Center. And he was very involved in getting the BYU Jerusalem Center to become a reality. So he has this kind of like experience and connections and history with Israel. You have David A. Bednar, who's over the Middle East. I don't know. I feel like those two are kind of special. Maybe they're the two prophets. I don't know. But now he's moved up, and now he's the acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. So with that in mind, and with having this changing of the guard from President Ballard to President Holland, and whatever happens during President Holland's time, maybe this eruption is significant. By the way, let's just review really quick what happened with this comet. So November 14th, it was the fourth eruption. It was the biggest blast yet. It brightened by 100 times, which that's what happened the first time it erupted. If we go back to July 20th, First eruption abruptly brightens 100-fold. Okay. First time in 69 years. So this is the second time that it brightened by 100. And then it changes to a green color and loses its horns. And then it has this dark gap. Okay. So this was a pretty significant change to this comet happening in between the changing of the guard between President Ballard and President Holland. Now, why is this maybe not so crazy as some might think? Let me just give you a couple examples. You may or may not remember President Ezra Taft Benson passed away May 31st, 1994. Okay. He was a pretty, they're all important, but President Benson, he really talked a lot about the second coming. He talked about that generation of youth. He talked a lot about secret combinations and the threat of communism. So he kind of stands out. And what happened was the day that he passed away, May 31st, see right here, May 31st, 1994, that very same day, there was a very unusual and rare event that took place in primarily Utah and Wyoming. It was a derecho. And a derecho is essentially where you have like hurricane force winds that pass through an area, but not as the result of a hurricane. It's just the result of storms that are passing through. And so you have this really strong derecho that passed through Utah, and not just Utah. It wasn't like southern Utah, or it didn't just, nick Utah. It went through, and it seemed to be kind of centered on Salt Lake City. And it just, here you go. You can kind of see the line. So you can see it moved from right here, Nevada, this way, and then up into Wyoming. I swear there's like if I remember right, here it is. You can kind of see it from this like satellite animation. You can see how it's like just, but it was a really strong wind event that happened the day that he passed away. Another interesting thing that happened, and I've mentioned this in a few different videos, you had Elder Dean M. Davies that, and he was, okay. So with tender feelings, we announced that Elder Dean M. Davies of the 70 died after an extended battle with cancer Tuesday night in North Salt Lake. This is a key detail. So he was in the 70. He passed away. He's from North Salt Lake. And what happened, let's see, is the date on here? Yeah, here we go. It's September 1st. September 1st, 2021. Okay. What happened? Well, 2 days later, on September 3rd, 2021, there was a tornado, and it was along the Wasatch Front. And guess where it was? It was in North Salt Lake, where he's from. And tornadoes occurring along the Wasatch Front is not a common occurrence. We covered the one that happened in 1999. That's when I was in Salt Lake, and I was in high school at the time. And that was very rare. I've done videos about that. I'll probably end up doing another video in the future talking about the 1999 downtown Salt Lake tornado. But there's this lesser known one that happened just a couple of years ago. And it was just 2 days after Elder Davies passed away. And in the place where he's from, North Salt Lake. By the way, if you're not familiar with Utah, North Salt Lake is a city. It's not the same as the northern part of Salt Lake City. It's the city of North Salt Lake. So this happened. So I don't think it's too far-fetched to think that this comet changing in such a dramatic fashion may be some kind of sign of things to come. Maybe it's a sign of big things that are going to happen while President Holland is acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. We'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, that's the news with this comet. So I guess just keep your eye out for any articles you come across where there's comets. Just send them my way, and I'll do my best to try and keep track of them. But this is the latest development. All right, that's going to be it for this one. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe. Like this video if you liked it. Leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.